How the Maldives became an Islamic nation. Let's start the video. Long before the call to prayer echoed across these islands, the Maldives was a kingdom shaped by the rhythms of the Indian Ocean and the teachings of the Buddha. For centuries, this archipelago was not only a paradise of natural beauty but also a spiritual sanctuary, deeply connected to the Buddhist traditions of South Asia. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Maldives were settled as early as 2000 BCE. Early settlers likely came from the Indian subcontinent, bringing with them cultural practices, languages, and religious beliefs. By the first millennium CE, Buddhism had firmly taken root, influenced by Sri Lanka's Theravada tradition. Buddhism became the dominant faith, shaping art, architecture, and daily life. Temples, monasteries, and stupas were built across the islands, often constructed from coral stone. Rituals included meditation, offerings, and festivals aligned with lunar cycles. Imagine the islands dotted with coral stone stupas, monks chanting in the early dawn, and communities gathering for rituals that connected them to the wider Buddhist world. The Maldives was part of a vast maritime network linking India, Sri Lanka, and Southeast Asia. Buddhist texts and relics traveled along these routes, reinforcing the island's spiritual identity. The Maldivian script itself, Dives Akaru, shows influences from ancient South Asian writing systems. Kings of the Maldives supported Buddhism, commissioning temples and sponsoring rituals. Religion was intertwined with governance, legitimizing royal authority. The monarch was seen as a protector of the faith, ensuring harmony between spiritual and political life. Islanders practiced fishing, coconut cultivation, and trade, but religion permeated daily routines. Buddhist festivals brought communities together, reinforcing social bonds. Monasteries served as centers of learning, where monks preserved texts and taught moral discipline. In the 12th century, the Maldives stood at a crossroads. Its Buddhist traditions had flourished for centuries, but the tides of the Indian Ocean carried new ideas, new faiths, and new destinies. Among the traders and travelers who reached these shores was a man whose presence would forever alter the course of Maldivian history. Historical accounts describe Abu al-Barakat Yusuf al-Barbari, an Arab scholar from Morocco. Some traditions say he was from Persia. He arrived in Mail around 1153 CE, bringing with him the teachings of Islam. Legends say he confronted a sea demon that demanded sacrifices from the islanders. By reciting verses from the Quran, he banished the spirit, earning the trust of the king and his people. King Dovemi officially embraced Islam in 1153 CE. He adopted the title Sultan Muhammad al-Adil, marking the beginning of the Islamic Sultanate. His conversion was both a spiritual and political act, aligning the Maldives with the wider Muslim world. Following the king's conversion, the population gradually embraced Islam. Scholars and traders helped teach the Quran, Islamic rituals, and Arabic script. Buddhist temples were repurposed or replaced by mosques, often built from coral stone. The Maldives' location made it a hub for Arab traders. Conversion strengthened ties with Muslim merchants from Arabia, India, and East Africa. Islam provided a shared cultural and religious framework that facilitated trade and diplomacy. Islam reshaped Maldivian law, governance, and culture. Sharia became the foundation of justice, and the Sultanate system replaced the Buddhist monarchy. Festivals, rituals, and daily life were infused with Islamic practices. After King Dovemi's conversion, scholars from Arabia and neighboring Muslim lands began teaching the Quran. They introduced Islamic rituals, daily prayers, fasting, zakat, charity. Arabic script was taught, influencing the evolution of Dive writing. Buddhist festivals gave way to Islamic celebrations like Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Temples were dismantled or repurposed into mosques, often built from coral stone. Daily life began to revolve around the rhythm of prayer times. coral stone mosques became the new centers of community life. Minarets rose above palm trees, symbolizing the island's new spiritual identity. Islamic art and calligraphy replaced Buddhist carvings, adorning walls and manuscripts. Marriage, inheritance, and governance were redefined under Islamic law. Dietary practices changed, with Islamic rules on halal food. Clothing styles gradually reflected Islamic modesty, blending tradition with faith. Some communities resisted at first, holding on to Buddhist traditions. Over time, resistance faded as Islamic practices became embedded in daily life. The blending of old and new created a uniquely Maldivian expression of Islam. Islam unified the scattered islands under a single spiritual identity. It strengthened ties with Muslim traders and neighboring states. The Maldives became part of a global religious community, the Ummah. King Dovami's adoption of the title Sultan Muhammad al-Adil marked the beginning of the Maldivian Sultanate. The Sultan was both a political ruler and a religious leader, responsible for upholding Islamic law. Authority was legitimized through faith, binding governance to divine principles. Sharia law became the foundation of justice in the Maldives. Courts were established to resolve disputes, guided by Islamic principles of fairness and equity. Judges, known as qadis, were appointed to oversee legal matters, blending local customs with Islamic jurisprudence. The Sultanate developed a system of administration across the islands. Local leaders were appointed to ensure Islamic practices were upheld in villages and atolls. Taxes were collected in accordance with Islamic principles, including zakat, charity. Governance was inseparable from religion. Mosques became centers of both worship and community decision-making. The Sultan's legitimacy depended on his adherence to Islamic values. Political decrees were often framed in religious language, reinforcing the unity of faith and rule. Trade was regulated under Islamic law, ensuring fairness in transactions. Cowrie shells, a major export, became part of a regulated economy tied to Muslim trade networks. Inheritance laws shifted to follow Islamic principles, redefining family structures and property rights. The Sultan was seen as the protector of Islam in the Maldives. He sponsored mosque construction, supported scholars, and ensured the spread of Islamic education. His role was both temporal and spiritual, embodying the unity of state and religion. The Sultanate system provided continuity and stability for centuries. Even as dynasties changed, the foundation of governance remained Islamic. This system ensured that Islam was not just a religion of the people, but the very framework of the state. Buddhist festivals were replaced by Islamic celebrations. Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha became central to community life, marked by feasts, prayers, and charity. Ramadan reshaped the rhythm of daily life, with fasting during the day and communal gatherings at night. Daifi language absorbed Arabic words, especially in religious contexts. Islamic texts influenced local literature, blending Quranic teachings with Maldivian oral traditions. Poetry and storytelling began to reflect Islamic values, reinforcing the new cultural identity. Clothing styles shifted toward Islamic modesty, blending traditional Maldivian attire with Islamic principles. Marriage ceremonies adopted Islamic rituals, with contracts and blessings guided by Sharia. Dietary practices aligned with halal rules, reshaping culinary traditions. Centuries after King Dovami's conversion, Islam remains the heartbeat of the Maldives. It is not only a religion but the foundation of national identity, woven into every aspect of life, from governance to culture, from family traditions to the nation's constitution. The Maldives today proudly declares itself a 100% Muslim nation. Islam is enshrined in the constitution, which requires all citizens to be Muslim. Religious unity is seen as a cornerstone of national stability and cultural continuity. The 2008 constitution reaffirmed Islam as the state religion. Laws are based on Sharia, guiding family, inheritance, and social conduct. Political leaders emphasize their role as protectors of the faith, echoing the legacy of the sultans. Modernization and tourism bring global influences, but Islam remains the anchor of identity. The constitution and society resist secularization, emphasizing the Maldives' unique role as a fully Islamic nation. Faith continues to guide responses to change, ensuring continuity amid transformation.